Please accept my humble obeisances, all those to the Prabhupada and all those to Guru Maharaj. And so, no qualification to speak on this subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whatever I could speak is the mercy of Guru Maharaj and Sri Prabhupada and other speakers who speak on this subject matter. And I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas, dear Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and our DT Sri Chandra, so I can speak something beneficial to everyone and bring some change in me too. With that, let's recite prayer. Please forgive me. Sorry. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manodishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadhana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Yam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tam Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtukim Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome all. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 12, titled Creation of the Kumaras and Others, text 33. That like let's recite the verse. Saityam Granatah Putran Puro Drishtva Prajapati Prajapati Patistarvam Tatyaja Vridita Tatsada Tam Disho Jagratu Khoram Niharam Yadvidustamaha Synonyms: Saha, he, Brahma, Itham, thus, Grinataha, speaking, Putran, sons, Puraha, before, Tristva, seeing, Prajapati, all the progenitors of living entities, Prajapati Pati, the father of them, Brahma, Tanvam, body, Tatyaja, quit, Vridditaha, ashamed, Tada, at that time, Tam, that body, Dishaha, all directions, Jagruhu, accepted, Ghoram, blamable, Niharam, fog, Yat, which Viduhu they know as Tamaha, darkness. Translation: the father of all Prajapatis, Brahma, thus seeing all his Prajapati sons speaking in that way, became very much ashamed and at once gave up the body he had accepted. Later, that body appeared in all directions as a dangerous fog in darkness. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The best way to compensate for one's sinful acts is to give up one's body at once. And Brahma, the leader of all living entities, showed this by his personal example. Brahma has a fabulous duration of life, but he was obliged to give up his body due to his grievous sin, even though he had merely contemplated it in his mind without having actually done it. This is a lesson for the living entities, showing how sinful an act it is to indulge in unrestricted sex life. Even to think of abominable sex life is sinful, and to compensate for such acts, one has to give up his body. In other words, one's duration of life, blessings, opulence, etc., are decreased by sinful acts, and the most dangerous type of sinful act is unrestricted sex. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life, or sinful life is the cause of gross ignorance. The feature of ignorance is darkness or fog. Darkness or fog still covers the whole universe, and the sun is the only counteracting principle. One who takes shelter of the Lord, the perpetual light, has no fear of being annihilated in the darkness of fog or ignorance. So, just to bring like a summary, like until now, what happened. So in the beginning, Maitreya Muni explaining to Vidura how Brahma's creation is started. So Brahma started creating like in the starting of the verses. I think second text 2 explains uh, how Brahma created like 5 features of ignorance, and the reasoning just given for it is like it's very hard for a living entity uh, whose real identity is to serve Krishna, and it's hard for him or her to live in this material world without serving Krishna. So if the living entity is not put into the ignorance, that's the reason Brahma first started creating these 5 elements of ignorance, and then he created Kumaras, and then requested to continue progeny, but they declined and they leave the place. And then uh, Brahma couldn't control. He tried to control his anger, but still, from the eyebrows, a child was born with blue and red complexion, and he named the child as Rudra, and he gave him 11 places of residence, 11 names, and 11 wives, and requested him to start the progeny. And later he started uh, producing other things from his different parts of the body. And coming to this section, and in one of the verses, I think text 26, it said like one daughter was born from his mouth called Walk, which is like speaking eloquently. And after that, like Brahma, in his thoughts, he desired to have sex with the daughter who was born, though she doesn't have any interest towards him. But um, knowingly, who understood the sons who were born out of were led by Marichi, understood the Brahma's what's going in Brahma's mind, and they told him like it's not a good idea, and also he's being followed by many spiritualists uh, to attain the spiritual goal or life goal. So it's not a good idea for him to have these kind of thoughts. With that, like coming to the current text where Brahma was ashamed by those thoughts and the way his son spoke to him, and he left his body, and that body was turned into a dark fog spread across the whole universe as ignorance. So the first thing what Prabhupada said was Brahma did the right thing by leaving his body, and that's the ideally suggested way for anyone when someone commits a sinful activity, so they should uh, leave the body. I was just wondering, like even Brahma left his body just by the thoughts of a sinful activity. So I just thought, like means I would, in my scenario, uh, just not about sex, anything like so many other activities I perform. Like if I want to give up my body for each and everything, so I would never be existing like that. So in this world, like for every second, and so next is and all these acts, like whatever someone is acting in this particular specific uh, thoughts, they're what's that? They're kind of to satisfy one's false ego or to prove themselves to be superior or something. So this is just a ego satisfying oneself, which is kind of a root cause. Like most of the living entities in the material world are here because of the basic seed of envy towards Krishna. So that's the main cause, the things. And so, and the next thing, like I was listening one of Guru Maharaj's lecture, and that like Maharaj was talking about all the desires, or all those desires are in every living entity's heart in a dormant stage, and they come from the previous lives, egoistic or sinful activities, whatever we perform previous lives or in this life, waiting to get manifested, and they're just waiting for the right environment to develop those qualities. So, as a seed needs a good fertile land and water, uh, the rain to grow for the crops. Similarly, all these desires are staying in the dormant state, waiting for it to fructify. So we just need to create the right environment. What is that right environment? Is like whenever get lenient in the spiritual practices or engaging in the material sense enjoyment creates the right environment to bring those desires out. So, and Mara is talking about the uh, Ajamila, Ajamila's pastime, and he was mentioning like Ajamila was born in a very good Brahmin family, and he was nicely grew up with all Vedic scriptures and Vedic ways, and he got married to a chef's wife, and he has nice good children, and he was performing his all duties as suggested in the scriptures, not deviated from any of the things. But unexpectedly, he watched that scene of two people having sex while performing his service. Not even purposefully he watched, but that totally changed his life from a Brahmana into a sinful person. And there is no one sinful act he did not do to have that enjoyment. How did that desire arise in Ajamila? It is the tendency from the previous lives sitting in a dormant state which got awakened during while he watched that situation. The same thing, like how this Rupa Goswami explained in Bhaktivedanta Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion, the cycle of these things like bija, kuta, prarabdha, and aprarabdha. Right. So when these sins are sitting in the heart in the aprarabdha state, waiting for it to get manifested. So what it does is it causes kuta or proclivity to perform sin, and it creates a strong desire to perform the sin. That's the bija to do the act on it. Once it's committed, it adds like a little bit more to that aprarabdha until it turns into prarabdha or manifests. The like once it manifests, so the reactions comes, but until it manifests, it stays in that aprarabdha stage. But that can cause more proclivity for one to perform the sins. And once we keep doing it, like we just got stuck in that cycle. So there's just the cycle going continuously until one takes up the bhakti or devotion service. So that's what again Rupa Goswami quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam and says bhakti is like a forest fire or a blazing fire, as the fire can consume any amount of fuel into ashes. So similarly, by taking up the devotional service, it can burn up all the fuel of sinful activities or tendencies into ashes. But now coming to the situation in Kali Yuga, and especially I feel it's my scenario or my case. I feel every day great about like one day if I wake up early, maybe around 5 o'clock, and if I do half of my rounds, I feel so great about it and think that I performed nicely. Or one day in out of this whole year, like one day I attend morning Mangalarti, I feel so great about it. But as soon as I step out of that particular situation, so much material nescience or Maya is awaiting for me to get out of there to engage me in its service. Why think about like sadhana, the practice in devotion? Even during that time, it does engage in its service, especially in my case, like I feel like while chanting my rounds, definitely not when I do in the morning, 5 o'clock, if I wake up anytime, but the evening time when I do it, so the cell phone literally takes most of my chanting time away from me. And this thing is like that analogy we all always hear, that elephant bath. So an elephant takes a nice bath in the pond, and as soon as it comes out, it puts the dirt all around its body. Similarly, I feel though I took the path of devotional service, I'm not doing it in a right way. So I keep gathering, though I try to clear these sinful tendencies, still because of my acts, it's not really clearing. Even though it's clearing, but I'm adding more to it. So it's never been cleared. So so and the other thing which uh, Guru Maharaj is explaining was, it was a really nice analogy to say like how Maya is not going to let's go so easily. So he's saying a owner, or like in most of us like might have experienced in our companies, like when we worked in the company for quite some time. So and the managers know our worth or capital, or what do we call, right? They so we are working so faithfully. So they does not want us to leave the company when we wanted to leave, right? So they tries their all their means to keep us in. So similarly, and one day out of this so many lifetimes, we are being faithful servant to Maya. Now suddenly coming up and saying that, oh, I took the devotion service. I don't need to serve you anymore. So Maya is not going to let us go easily. It's going to make all its tactics to keep us in its service. So that means we have to be stronger than Maya, to ready to defend ourselves from from it. So that means like we need to take shelter of a stronger association than Maya. So that is Krishna or devotees. and and again, I just want to share one of my experiences, like how I fall from my sadhana practices. Always I think like, oh, okay, so I'm doing it for so long. This one time, it's okay to deviate from it, but that one time turns into two time turns into three, and keep so on. And then one fine day, I realize that I'm totally dropped, and then struggling hard to get back in. Isn't that a powerful trick to push us back into the cycle of those desires by Maya? So, and just to conclude, in the last paragraph, Prabhupada said, uh, ignorance is the cause of sinful activities, and it's wise. Sorry. So, uh, okay. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life, and sinful life is the cause of ignorance. And as Prabhupada mentioned, darkness is dissipated by sun, and similarly, one who takes the shelter of Lord has no fear of being annihilated in the ignorance. So just to conclude, devotional service is the only process which could help us get us attracted to the higher power over Maya, which is Krishna, and to be freed from all these sinful material desires. So with that, I'll conclude, and I seek forgiveness if I spoke something incorrectly or misrepresented because of my limited understanding. It's not something my Guru Maharaj spoke something correct. I seek all of your blessings and prayers so I could engage myself sincerely in devotional service so I could get free from those material desires. That I conclude, and I would share your thoughts. Anyone want to share their thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yes,
Prabhuji, wonderful class, lot of good points, but my mind wanders around and I have these questions. So the question that I have is, in this particular chapter, multiple times we come across Brahma leaving his body, giving up his body. So I want to understand what it means. Does it mean when Brahma gives up his body, the entire creation is withdrawn and it is recreated, or there's a new Brahma who comes in? What does it really mean, Prabhuji? Thank you, Prabhuji.
I'm not sure, Prabhu. I was while reading it, I'm not sure if it was in the Gaurang Darshan Prabhu book or somewhere. I just read it, and I think when Brahma leaves his body, there is no right capable person. Krishna himself or Supreme Lord himself takes that position as Brahma to maintain the things. I'm not sure if it annihilates fully, but that's what my understanding. But there's so many other devotees who are there, so they might be able to share more knowledgeable than they can share their ideas or thoughts on that question. But that's what I heard, that when there is no capable person to take up that post, Krishna Supreme Lord takes up that post. Pantan Gopal Prabhu or Varsanamati, do you have any thoughts on that question?
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. I have a not a question, but again confused statement by.
And I was asking you to, so do you have any thoughts on?
In the similar lines, no, I don't know. It's a very complex and complicated. Unless we have mercy of the Lord, it's next to impossible to understand Bhagavatam, especially these pastimes. So I am in the same darkness. I don't know why the great personalities like Prajapatis speaking like this, like a. Yeah, that's fine. They are speaking, but what I'm confused is why Lord Brahma has to give up the body for a sinful act, which is he's doing another sin by giving up body, because we know Atmahatya or giving up body is not the right thing. It is a sin based on Vedas or based on scriptures. Should not give up body. But being a Brahma, how he's doing that sin again for a sin, and how that is being supported by great personalities. That is mind-boggling to me. we tell people that you should not give up body, you should strive for it. You should change your mentality. Being those kind of a personalities, instead of changing their mindset, why they are giving up bodies? What is that they're teaching us by giving up body? So I don't know why it is happening, why it is written like this by Vyasadeva or Prabhupada. In the translation, Prabhupada clearly says the best way to compensate for one's sinful acts is to give up one's body at once. And nobody lives in this world basically based on that statement. Should not.
No, we are in Kali Yuga, so anyway. So I was listening another lecture. So they were talking about like I don't know, most of the you would understand definitely they're calling it as Jiva Chavas or something like we are just living as a dead body.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Panduranga Prabhu is very knowledgeable, but, he just sidestepped the question, he just sidestepped the question. So,
Prabhu, I don't want to do that. My apologies. But I'm really confused from this verse and 2 days back, Chintamani Mataji gave that. I'm really confused why Brahma is doing this kind of an act and being supported. I don't know. But one thing I am able to see from previous verses and this verses, not for my question, but rather Kunji Bihar Prabhu's question, my thought process, absolutely I may be wrong. Prabhupada says it is Brahma is a post, not a person. So I'm thinking that Brahma may be giving up the body, doesn't mean that the same person is going to occupy it. Somebody else is going to occupy that position in that Brahma's post. Not the same soul, probably, because like we have seen in so many yugas, Krishna takes the position of Indra. We can correlate that, right? In Indra's position, it's not the person. I'm thinking same thing, Prabhu. I may be wrong. My speculation.
Yes, bro. Yeah, I think somewhere in the future verses only it's coming up. I think in the purports Prabhupada mentioned. I think, if there is no capable person, like Krishna takes that position as Brahma.
Correct.
Krishna.
I may be wrong. But that's what I'm thinking for your question. But my question still stands. How come?
Wonderful.
Yes,
Hi,
bro. Your question would be answered by some other.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was a wonderful clarification.
But I won't be able to answer your question, bro. Sorry.
No. We are here. We are all in the same boat. Yeah. I don't know.
If no one has any other thoughts or discussion points, it's 8:06. We can close on the call.
Thank you, Prabhu.
A very happy Krishna conscious day ahead. Panchakalpatarupyasya kripasindhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo Vaishnava.